Hi guys, it's Paula and I hope you are doing well. This is going to be part 2 of my makeup inventory. This is part 3 of my overall inventory for 2025. In this video, we will be going over everything related to bronzer, highlight, and blush. And yeah, any combination thereof. It is a lot. I have a lot of these items. It is mind-blowing how much I have, and it is even more mind-blowing how little progress I've made with reducing these numbers over the years. It is why I do inventories. It is why I project pan. If you have never done an inventory, I would highly recommend it, especially if you are still actively shopping for makeup. It is so important to document through pictures what you have and when you get it so that you could keep track of this, because unless you are regularly decluttering, you will accumulate more than you can possibly finish in no time. And I don't know about you, but I can lie to myself. I could tell myself things like, oh, I haven't had that for that long, or, oh, I'll be able to finish that, or this isn't too much makeup, I'll be able to use it all. And all those are lies. All of those are lies. Everything is older than I think it is. Everything takes longer to finish than I think it will. And I will one day be buried and turned to dust, and all this makeup will still be here unless I declutter it to somebody, because it is too much. I have too much. And unfortunately, it took me a long time to figure that out, but I'm better late than never. That's all I can say. But everything in this video we will be discussing will be related to highlighter, bronzer, and blush. I hope you enjoy watching. Thank you. We are kicking off part 2 of my makeup inventory with my cream bronzers. I have 4 here this year. I had 4 here last year. I used one up. It was part of a duo. There was one end had a cream bronzer stick and the other one had a cream highlighting stick, and I used up the cream bronzer stick. This came over from my blush inventory. This is the Maybelline Dream Bouncy Blush in Coffee Cake, the shade Coffee Cake. And I decided this would make a nice cream bronzer. And since I have a bajillion cream blushes and only a couple of bronzers, why not move one over? The bronzer that I'm currently working on is this one right here. It is from Mascara or Saint Beauty, and I love it. I'm making really good progress on it. It's going quick, as cream bronzers tend to do for me. I'm cautiously optimistic that I will be able to finish this off in 2025 and maybe start working on another one. In addition to the cream bronzers you see here, I do have at least 2 that are in face palettes, maybe 3, but definitely 2 that I can think of off the top of my head. So I don't need to start thinking about buying another cream bronzer just yet, but out of all my makeup categories, this one's definitely on the low end, and I'm getting very excited about that. It feels really good to consider having a reasonable amount of something. That's not something I've ever had. Everything in my life has been very unreasonable, and the idea of having something reasonable is wonderful. So very happy to have used one of these up, but because this one came over from my blush inventory, the number did not actually go down. It is still at 4. These are my depotted bronzers. Obviously, they are just bronzers that don't have any compact that they're placed in. Most of them originally came from a compact. Some of them I purchased as depotted singles, and others, like this one, came from a palette that I depotted. There was 10 last time. There's 10 this time. There's been no change. It's the same 10. I don't think I worked on any of these last year, unfortunately. This was in my Pan That palette, I think, for 2019. I really like that bronzer. I would love to get back to it. This one I'd obviously love to finish. That's from my Too Faced Natural Face palette. I spent most of last year working on the blush from that palette. It's almost gone. And yeah, I would love to explore all of these, but as of right now, none of them are in a project for 2025. I've already kind of picked out the bronzer that I'll be working on throughout this year, and it's not one of these, unfortunately. So we are still at 10. Here are my bronzer single compacts. So these are all bronzers that are in a compact, like this case right here, and they haven't been depotted, at least yet. They might one day become depotted, but for now they're in a little compact. I have 23 this year. I had 23 last year. I did finish one. It was a deluxe sample of the Chocolate Soleil bronzer, very similar to this one, maybe even the exact same one. But I did move this over from my blush inventory. Why was this in my blush inventory ever? I don't know. It's clearly not a blush. But yep, that's where it was. So it's coming over to my bronzer inventory where it should have probably been all along. So this number did not change. It's still at 23, but I am happy to have finished the Chocolate Soleil bronzer. I do have one right there. I have another one right there. And then I have one in my little black book of bronzers palette from Too Faced. So I have 3 other Chocolate Soleil bronzers, and as much as I do enjoy that bronzer, it's not like holy grail. I think there's probably other bronzers that I like a little bit better, although I do like that bronzer very much. I don't know if it's my all-time favorite bronzer. Other than finishing off that deluxe sample, the only other bronzer I worked on at all last year was this one from e.l.f. I had this in my Finish 6 by Santa project, and my goal was just to use it 20 times, which I did. So I did get 20 uses on that, which is something. It's not nothing, but I didn't really work on any of these other bronzers at all in 2024. And at this point in time, I don't have plans for any of these to go in a project. Like I said earlier, I've already chosen the bronzer I'm going to be working on this year, and it is in a palette. You'll be seeing it down the road in a future, maybe in this, I think in a different inventory down the road, in a couple more inventories, maybe part 4. I'm not sure. It's coming. Anyways, we are still at 3 for bronzer singles. 1 got used up and 1 got moved over from another inventory, and I didn't buy any, so that's good. I know it seems like I've been talking about bronzers forever, but we're not quite done yet. Here are my loose bronzers, powder bronzers, loose powder bronzers. I had 5 last year. I still have 5. I didn't touch these at all, and again, I don't have plans to for this coming year. These are both Bare Minerals Warmth right here. They are very deep on my skin tone. I can really only wear them at the height of summer when I'm at my absolute tannest. Otherwise, no matter how careful I try to be, it is too dark. The rest of these I could use year round, or especially in the winter. Yeah. 5 is a bit too much. I wish I had fewer, but this is what I currently have. I would love if I could fit one into a project this year. I would love to put this one in Project 10 Uses. Remind me of that, guys. Remind me to put this in Project 10 Uses, because I haven't used those in forever. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much. So we are still at 5 for loose powder bronzers. And finally, we have the last part of my bronzer inventory. This is my one and only bronzer palette. It has been my one and only bronzer palette for many years, and I would argue that nobody needs more than 1 bronzer palette. I don't think I do. I didn't touch this at all in 2024. I do have 2 pans showing. I have a pan right there and a pan. Oh, there you go. You could see it real well right there. Still got a long way to go with this palette, and if I don't use it, I'm not going to make any progress, but I didn't get around to this at all last year, and again, I don't think I'm going to be working on it this year. This one is more of a blush for me. This one is more of a highlighter for me, but since it's called a bronzer palette, that's where it lives, in my bronzer palette inventory. All right, we are moving on to highlighting sticks. I had 7 last year. I still have 7. There's been no change. I did not work on, well, I did work on one of these sticks last year. It was this one from e.l.f. It's like a, not iridescent, but like a holographic. I think they called it like a hollow highlighter. It's really not holographic. It just has like a bluish tint. I had that in my 6 by Santa last year as well, and I only used it 20 times, but at least I got some use out of it. The rest of these I didn't touch at all. Even though I worked on this bronzer all of last year, or a good chunk of last year, I didn't really touch the highlighting end at all. My focus as far as cream highlight has been in pans of highlighter, not the sticks. So that's where I've been making all the progress, not really over here. but hopefully one of these will find their way into some kind of project in 2025. I don't know. We'll see. It would be great to get this number down, but at this point in time, none of these are slated for a project. Okay, here is my inventory of liquid highlighters. There has been no change to this category either. There was 20 last year and there is still 20. I did not use any up and nothing new came in. I am technically working on this one from Charlotte Tilbury. It is in a project. It is in my Panner's Pan project for Amber. However, I can't say that I'm actually working on it because my focus has been elsewhere on a different cream or liquid highlighter. None of these other highlighters are currently in projects and I don't plan to put them in a project at this point in time. It doesn't make sense while I have that one in project and I'm still not using it, but I would love to get around to using up some of these. Oh my goodness, I would love so much to get around to using up some of these, but we are still at 20. Okay, this is the last of my cream highlighters. I have so many highlighters. This is the last of my cream highlighters. I am very excited to report that this number did go down by 1. Over the past year, I had 19 and now I have 18. The one that I finished was actually my e.l.f. shimmer palette, which was a very, very satisfying empty. I loved that product. It was a great cream highlighter, but it was old. It took up space and I obviously have too many cream highlights, so it feels really good to have one less. The product I'm currently working at this point in time is right here. This is another one of the Mascara Beauty / Saint Beauty products. This one is going very slow. I think you can see a little bit of a dip going on in there, but compared to the other 3 pans that I'm working on from the Mascara Beauty products, I think that one's gonna last the longest. I'm calling it now. That's gonna be the one that hangs on when all the other 3 are long gone. There are some amazing cream highlighters sitting in front of me right now. I would love to be working on all of them. I would love to bathe myself in cream highlight, but unfortunately, I only have one face. So the rest of these are not being worked on at the moment. But yeah, hopefully I'll get around to one of them soon, but I'm pretty committed to this Mascara Beauty one at this point in time. So it'll be a while. But I'm happy this inventory went down by 1 from 19 to 18. That is not an all-time low. At the lowest back in 2017, my inventory was 13. So I have a ways to get to a new personal best low, but I'm glad it went down by 1. Okay, here are my loose highlighting powders. We're finally on to powder highlighters. There are 9 here. There were 9 last year. There's been no change. I do currently have this one, and I'm saying 1 even though I'm pointing to 2, in Project 10 uses because it turns out they are the same product. I did not realize that. I had no idea that I had 2 of the same product. One of the things I'm hoping to accomplish while using it 10 times is determining if I can, should, or want to combine them into the larger packaging and have one less item taking up space in my life. So I have not made any decisions about that at this time, but that's something I'm hoping to accomplish. I had no idea that I had 2 of the same products. Chances are I bought none of them or only one of them, and then one of them was probably decluttered to me from Jamie. That's how I end up with multiples. What can I say? Even though we have different makeup styles and, you know, needs as far as makeup, we end up buying a lot of the same products. We just have very similar tastes in makeup, and we have a lot of the same stuff. But right now, this is calling my name. That looks like buttery goodness. I think that is, well, I don't think, I know it is a highlighter from Korres. And oh my gosh, it is gorgeous. Beautiful, stunning, beautiful. This looks very dark. It's not as dark on the skin as it looks in the pan, but I do have it on my hand. Focus. Kind of right here. And as you can see, it's not really, well, you can't see anything because my phone won't focus. But yeah, it's not standing out as being too dark on my skin. I don't know why it looks so dark in the container. It's really not that dark. But Yep. Other than these two that are in Project 10 uses, I haven't worked on any of them, and I don't have projects this year slated for any of them. I will be spending most of my year working on a tiny little square of highlighter that I have in my classic Project 10 pan. So that's where all my focus is going in 2025, at least until it's gone. Okay, this is one of the most difficult posts of my inventory because it takes up the entire blanket. I had to move the whole operation down to the floor. I'm normally working on my table. There's my feet. The blanket is on the floor because this takes up so much space that I needed the entire blanket and not just part like I normally use. Holy cow, I have so many highlighters, so many. I'm not happy Becca went out of business. I don't want to sound like I'm happy Becca went out of business, but the truth is, if Becca had not gone out of business, I'd probably have at least 5 more highlighters than what you see here, because I was a huge sucker for Becca. I really liked their highlighters. I thought they were lovely. This inventory did go up by 1 because a product got moved into this inventory. So I was at 56 last year and now I'm at 57. I did not use any highlighters up in 2024. I worked on an eyeshadow single in 2024 that I used as a highlighter. If that's not irony, I don't know what is. I spent the entire year working on an eyeshadow single as a highlighter, and I still didn't finish it. But even if I would have, this inventory would not have gone down because it's an eyeshadow and not a highlighter. This number 7 palette is what moved in. This was previously in my blush inventory and I put it in Project 10 uses last year and determined it's really not a blush. I was kind of on the fence between making it a bronzer or a highlighter. In the end, I'm putting it in my highlighter category for now. Maybe it'll move again, I don't know. But the way I tend to use this palette the most is as a face highlight. Maybe once I've used up some of those 2 lightest shades on the palette, it'll move to a different category, but for now, that's how I've been using it, is as a face highlight. I think this e.l.f. highlighter was in a palette, was in a project last year, but I had a usage goal, not a goal to hit pan or anything. Probably in my 6 by Santa project. I really enjoyed that. It was a gorgeous highlight. But for 2025, I am focusing on this one right here. This is what's left of a little Ulta Beauty sampler that was a gift with purchase. It had 1 bronzer. Oh my gosh, I can't open it now. Got it. It had 1 bronzer, which I used up, and so I still have the illuminator left. Not the most creative name. It's really nice. I've been using it for the last, I don't know, month or so. I'm enjoying it. It's going slow. No major progress yet. Hopefully I can finish it because it is in my classic Project 10 pan, so I need to. I don't know what more I can say about these highlighters other than there really isn't anything in here that I look at and think, I wish I didn't own you. I look at every one of these highlighters and I think, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful, I love you. So for now, I have no need to or wish to declutter anything. You guys know I don't really declutter anyways, but it is a few too many. 57 is a lot of highlighters. And we're not done because I got to do my palettes next. So hold tight. There's still more highlighters to come. Okay, for the last couple of years, I've been including these depotted highlighters in with my highlighter singles. I'm not sure what I did wrong this time. I must have miscounted. I'm a little confused, but here they are. I still have these 3 depotted highlighter singles. I guess they're gonna go in their own little separate post this year because I forgot to include them with the 57 other highlighters, and I'm not pulling those all back out. I just got them put away. So we're not redoing that post. We're just gonna move on. I do still have these 3 depotted singles. I'm not working on any of them at the moment. Wish I was, but I'm not. And I don't have plans to put them in a project right now, but hopefully down the road they will make an appearance. They're all beautiful. Okay, we are back on the table. Oh, those highlighter singles are a lot. We are moving on to my highlighter palettes. I am at 11. I've been at 11 for many years. There's really been no change. It's going to take me a long time to pan an entire highlighter palette. And yeah, because of that, I'm not in any hurry. I'm technically not working on any of these highlighter palettes. Well, I technically am working on one of these highlighter palettes. I am currently working on that chunk that's missing out of that ABH palette right there. That is the highlighter shade that I mixed in with some black to create a new eyeshadow, which is at this point in time my current Baby Pan That palette. So that's where that came from, and that's what I'm working on. Once I finish that little chunk of shadow, I could count this as having one of my pan in every palettes, towards my 100% goal of having a pan in every palette. But until I finish that little bit of eyeshadow that I've frankened, I cannot call it done yet. But out of all of these, that is the only one I'm currently working on at this time, unfortunately. Again, wish I was working on all of these, but I just don't have enough cheekbone space at the moment. But it would be really cool to finish off that Franken shadow and count that as a pan, because look at that. That is a huge, huge piece of pan. It's going to take me a while though. So we are still at 11 for highlighter palettes. Okay, we are moving on to my depotted blushes. There were 48 last year and there are 48 this year. It was so close to being 47. Oh, so close, you guys. OMG, come on. That's okay. It is going to be feeling really good as an empty for 2025. I will be okay. I would love to downsize my depotted everything big time. I'm not sure if the reason I want to do that so much is because I want to have fewer depotted items, or because I'm itching to depot more items to fill up my palettes once again. This one's sitting here because I couldn't get the highlighter underneath it out, so I'm covering it up. So if that looks weird, that's why that's sitting there. Don't pay no attention to the highlighter hiding underneath. Yeah, so really disappointed that this number didn't go down. I would love to hop right into another depotted blush and start panning another one, but I've already chosen a different blush to work on in 2025, and it is a single. Wish me luck. In the meantime, I am still working on this one. I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between the two blushes because I need to finish this one too. There's no way I'm going to put that one away for now. At this point, because we are way too close to the end and it's got to go, but I am working on another blush as well. So many blushes, so little time. Don't worry, we're just getting started. There are many more blushes to go, but here are 48 of them right here. All right, moving on to my loose blushes. No change in numbers here. I was at 13 last year and I'm still at 13. I haven't used any up, nothing new has come in. I am currently working on this one down here. That's why he's separated from everything else. This is in project 10 uses. So I only plan to use it 10 times and then it goes back into the office, but at least I'm getting some use out of these because that's a lot of cream blush right there. I mean, this alone, I don't know, what do we think? Maybe a decade's worth of blush right here. 10 years. This would probably take me darn near till I'm 60 to finish. And it's only the tip of the iceberg, but holy cow, you guys, this is a lot. I'm just going to keep chipping away at it. This is not actually any particular brand of loose blush. This is a collection of broken blushes that ended up in that container. This is a Clinique Moisture Surge bottle. It's gigantic. And the rest are actually blushes. But yeah, hopefully I will get some good use on this in project 10 uses. Alrighty, moving on to my cream blush collection. I am very, very excited to report that this inventory did go down this year. We went from 49 to 47. I'm very, very pleased with that. I only finished one of the two. That was, of course, my Maybelline Dream Bouncy Blush in Peach Satin. It took me like 4 years to finish that sucker. The other one didn't get used up. It just got moved to my cream bronzer inventory. You've already seen that at the beginning of this video. But yeah, I'm hopeful that I will use that up much faster as a cream bronzer compared to if it was in this mix of cream blushes that will take me eons. The blush that I'm currently working on is down here. This is from my mascara slash Saint Beauty collection of 4 face products that I'm currently working on in Partners in Cream. I don't know if this is going to be a sneak peek or not, but there's a good size pan showing at this point. There are items in this inventory that did not start out as cream blush products. For example, this is a liquid lipstick from Charlotte Tilbury that I hated as a liquid lipstick, but love as a cream blush. And this is a under eye concealer from Maybelline that is way too deep of an orange shade for my under eyes, but it can make a nice cream blush. So I am open to making things work when need be in order to project pan them. Still got an absolute ton of liquid blush or cream blush. I don't have those divided up in this category. It's just a lot of blush. But I have been pretty good about using a cream blush product in my daily routine, and I'm chipping away at this very, very slowly. I'm not in an all-time low yet. At one point, many years ago, I only had 43. So it would be great to be under 43, but I'm happy to be down to 47 this year. Slowly but surely. By now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking to yourself, man, Paula, you've got too much blush. And you're right. You're not wrong. You're right. But we are only just getting started. We have so much more blush to cover. So much more blush. In my makeup shopping heyday, one of my favorite things to buy was blush. And I was definitely in collector mode, meaning I wanted to collect all the shades of blush from a collection. Regardless of whether those shades really worked for my skin or not, I wanted to have them all. And that is one of many things that I've learned through project panning over the years, is that it doesn't matter how cute the packaging is, how nice the embossing on the product is. You don't need one of every color, because only a couple are really truly going to work for your skin tone. And I like variety in blush. I like peachier blushes. I like pinkier blushes. But the deepest reddish shade is not going to work for me. It is meant for somebody else. And the absolutely lightest shade was meant for somebody else. And I don't need to purchase those. So I do have a gigantic collection of blush. And sadly, this post right here of my matte blushes has not changed at all. In fact, it hasn't changed in many years. These are my matte blush singles, and I have been at the count of 44 for 5 years now. 5 years. And it was at 45 for many years before that. And I'm not working on any of these right now. Sadly, I'm not working on any of these at the moment. So probably not going to be changing next year either, although never say never. I've already kind of chosen my blush for the year that I'm going to be panning, and I still have one hanging on from last year that I didn't quite finish off. So my hands are already full with just 2 blushes. Hopefully one of these might make it into Project 10 uses or something, though. You never know. You never know. I love them all. I look at them all and I think, I love you. I know it's silly, but I do. So we are still at 44 for my single matte blushes. Okay, this inventory is my pink shimmer blushes. These are blushes that I consider to be on the cooler side of pink. The reason why I divided these up is because they don't all fit on my little baby blanket in one photo, and I had to get them grouped into smaller chunks. And so I went with cool toned shimmery pinks and warm toned or more neutral shimmery blushes. So that's the logic behind that. Basically, it didn't all fit on my baby blanket, and everything needs to fit on my baby blanket to get into the photo, to get into Instagram. Will I ever post this on Instagram? I don't know. Keep your fingers crossed. I'd love to get back to Instagram one day, but it's been a minute. But in theory, I use this baby blanket right here for all of my Instagram posts because it is square shaped, and I know that if I can make it fit on this baby blanket, it'll fit in an Instagram post. I ended up moving one blush out of this category. I didn't use anything up and nothing new came in, but there is a cargo blush that I've decided really is a warm toned blush. I thought it was cool toned because it had that super cool toned stripe of pink right there, but the truth is when it's all blended together, it's very peachy on my skin. It's not pink at all. I think I put this in Project 10 Uses and figured that out. I'm not sure. But this is moving to another category. It's no longer in this group, and I am down to 16. I do love a good peachy tone blush, but I would say that overall I reach for more warm tone blushes over pink. So it's good that this is a smaller group of items compared to my warm toned blushes, which I have a ridiculous amount of. I am currently working on this one right here, and when I look back at where I was with this a year ago, there is definitely some really nice progress that I can tell, even though I really haven't worked on this much throughout the year. I was hardcore at the beginning of the year, and then when I realized I needed to finish a different blush, I put this, you know, in the back. It's kind of dirty. That's because I bronze first, and I think my brush was leaving some of my bronzer behind. Not that it's like actual dirt, that's darker because of my bronzer, but sorry guys, I know it's kind of gross. My goal for this blush is to hit pan on this. It is a sticky outy kind of blush, so it is taking forever, but I can definitely see progress from my last year's inventory photo. But other than that one, I'm not currently working on any of these other blushes. It would be amazing to work on one in Project 10 Uses or something throughout the year. We will see. These two have never even been opened. They're still like taped shut. Actually, no. No, still totally taped shut. I'd love to work on those. They're so pretty. I'd love to work on everything. But we are at the count of 16 for this inventory for this year. Time to move on to warm tone blushes. It's gonna knock your socks off, guys. There's so many. I know it's a lot, but it still makes me happy. Oh my goodness. All right, this is it for my blush singles. This is not it for blush. We're not done yet, but this is it for my blush singles. These are what I consider to be my warm shimmer blushes. There has been some movement, not because I finished anything, not because anything new came in, but because throughout the year, I did pay closer attention to a few of the blushes I previously had in this category and decided they didn't really belong in this category. One ended up going to my bronzer inventory, 4 ended up going to my highlighter inventory, but one did move into this inventory. That is this blush right here from Cargo. I also think I mentioned that this e.l.f. blush actually is just matte. It looks like it has glow, it looks like it has a sheen to it, but on the skin it's very matte. And I think my intentions were to move that to my matte blush inventory, but obviously that's already done. So maybe I'll remember to do that for next year because I'm not going to refilm that section. I'm too tired. But because of all the movement, this number went from 60 to 56. It would have been much more satisfying if I panned 4 blushes, but that's not what happened. I didn't pan any. They just got moved around. Currently, at this point in time, I'm working on this guy here. This is a blush from Clinique. It looks like it was a gift with purchase. If there was a label on it indicating the name of the blush, I no longer have that label, but this is what I'm currently working on for most days. and it's working pretty well so far. Hopefully I can finish that this year and get this number down by 1 the real way, by using 1 up. But 50, whether I have 56 in this inventory or 60, it is way too many, and yeah, I'm glad to be working on 1 to finish it up. Some of these need to be repressed. Some of them already have been repressed. They're getting older. They're getting drier. I gotta get going on them. I gotta get going. I think that's all I have to say about this, but here we are, 56 blushes for the warm shimmers. As I'm starting to clean this up, I did think of one more thing I wanted to say. While I was getting all these set up, I realized that this is broken and it's disgusting. I don't know what happened. This particular, these two are the same. They're both, what's the famous one? Orgasm. They're both NARS Orgasm. This one was mine. This one was Jamie's, and she decluttered it to me. We probably have had them for the same amount of time. But Jamie probably tries to keep her makeup clean, and as a result, this soft touch packaging has gotten like sticky and gross. So I don't know. I don't want to blame Jamie. I'm not trying to blame Jamie, but I'm guessing that this got cleaned with some kind of thing, and it does not feel good to the touch. So I think, I really don't have space for this, but I think I'm going to be depotting this blush from this packaging and throwing this packaging away, because I never, ever, ever want to touch that again. And this other one is fine. So I don't know what did that, but I think I will be depotting this pan from this packaging and trying to see if I could find any space in my magnetic palettes for this blush, because it does not feel good, and it's broken. So I just wanted to mention that. All right, it's been a couple days since I last filmed a post for this video, but surprise, surprise, we're still on blush. The blush keeps going. These are my blush only palettes. Every pan, well, they're called blush palettes. I suspect that these are more highlighters than blush, but for the sake of consistency, they remain in my blush inventory for now. There's been no change. These are the same 6 I've had for many years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I didn't work on any of these in the past year, sadly. I have made 2 attempts at panning this blush, and I know it doesn't look like there's that much left, but do not be fooled. That's a year's worth of blush right there. It's pretty pigmented and it moves so slow. I've twice been fooled into thinking I could pan that little pan of blush, and twice I've been played by the blush gods. This palette from the Balm still has not made it into a project. I really want to. I did test this one out recently to see if it could be better as a bronzer versus a blush, but in the end, I think I just like it as a blush. It is kind of an orangey blush, but it is more of a blush than a bronzer. I have not touched the Becca palette, the e.l.f. palette, or the Too Faced palette, or in fact this palette, in years and years and years. This one might be basically brand new for all I could tell. This is Makeup Revolution. I'm itching to put all of these in projects, but I don't have enough face or enough days in the year. So for now, they're not going in a project, but I'm always hopeful that they will turn up in one at some point. But this inventory count remains at 6. We are at the final post for part 2 of my makeup inventory. Oh my goodness. What a journey we've already been on. These are my face palettes. These are all makeup palettes with more than one category. So they might have a blush and a bronzer, a blush, a bronzer, a highlight and a bronzer. You get the idea. They all go on the face in some place, but it's not all one specific category. There has been basically no change to this inventory whatsoever since last year. I was at 23 last year. I'm still at 23. and I personally have not used any of these palettes in the past year. I did go ahead and give this much more loved looking palette to my daughter Hazel. She actually picked it out and asked for it, and I was like, yeah, sure, you could have it. Do I think she could realistically get through that entire palette? No. Is it still in our house? Yes. So I'm counting it in the inventory, but Hazel has been using and loving that palette. I don't know where she wears makeup, but she rarely looks like a clown, so I let her play. Yeah, same story, different group of makeup. I would love to get one or all of these items into a project in 2025. I don't know if that's realistic or not. All of my face products have already been picked out for panning for this year. I suppose in an ideal world, if I finished one of those items, I could then pick from one of these, but I don't have a strong history of finishing anything. It would be great to finish off this cream blush and get that out. That would be a nice little point for my low buy, what is it called? My low buy balance. That would be great. And then of course I do have, here's one of my cream bronzers that I've hit pan on, and here's another cream bronzer. So those are two of, like, when I was talking about earlier how I've gotten my cream bronzer inventory down so much, I have to remind myself that I do still have two not full pans, but 2 pans of cream bronzer to use up before I even need to think about buying another bronzer, just in addition to the couple of singles I still have. But yeah, all these pans were hit prior to 2024, because I don't think I worked on any of these items in 2024. And when I look back at the inventory picture from last year, all the pans that I have today, I had at this point last year as well. So yeah, I guess I was putting a lot of work into these palettes back then. I think most of them showed up in pan in every palette, but I didn't work on any of these in 2024. So we are still at 23 palettes total, and none of these palettes at this point in time are in a project, but you never know. Maybe Hazel can do some damage to this one. She's a much better project panner than I am. I have always said that. Alrighty, how are we doing, guys? How are we feeling? There was a lot of changes in this inventory, but not so much because I used anything up. It was more just kind of moving things around, and that's part of the process of project panning and doing these inventories as well, is kind of getting to know some of these products, because a lot of times at the height of my shopping madness, I would buy huge lots of items and stick them in a drawer. I didn't even have time to use them or play with them or enjoy them. They would just go right in a drawer and they would sit there forever. And when I went back and pulled them out, I didn't even remember what they were. And some of them kind of look like they could be multiple things. And it isn't until I actually use them that I'm like, that's not a blush, that's a highlighter. That's not a blush, that's a bronzer. So I'm all for accurate information when it comes to everything in life. And my makeup inventory is no exclusion. I'm just trying to get more accurate information about what I have and what its function is so that I could best use it up and enjoy it. So even though there wasn't a lot of things getting used up in this inventory, I feel like we are working more towards a more accurate inventory count, and I'm very happy about that. Anyways, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.